Ideas feel powerful. They arrive suddenly, often when you're not expecting them. In the shower, late at night, on a walk, when the world feels quiet. In those moments, everything seems possible. You imagine a different version of your life, a stronger version, a calmer version, a version of you that finally becomes who you were meant to be. And for a moment, it feels real. But then something happens. Nothing. The idea fades. Not because it was wrong, not because it wasn't good enough, but because ideas, by themselves, do nothing. Ideas don't change your life. Action does. Your brain loves ideas. Ideas are safe. Ideas are comfortable. Ideas require no risk. You can imagine success without facing failure. You can imagine discipline without feeling discomfort. You can imagine confidence without earning it. Ideas give you the emotional reward without the physical effort. And that's why so many people stay stuck. They live in the space between intention and action. They think about starting. They talk about starting. They plan to start, but they never begin. And the longer they wait, the harder it becomes. Because action is uncomfortable. Action exposes reality. When you act, you see your weaknesses. You see your limits. You see how far you still have to go. And most people don't want that. They prefer the illusion of potential over the reality of progress. Potential feels infinite. Progress feels slow. But here's the truth most people never realize. Your life changes the moment action becomes your identity. Not big action, not dramatic action. Small action, quiet action, daily action. The kind nobody applauds. The kind nobody notices. The kind that feels boring. Because action is not emotional. Action is mechanical. It happens whether you feel motivated or not. It happens whether you feel ready or not. It happens because you decided that your future matters more than your comfort. Most people wait to feel ready. Disciplined people act before they feel ready. They understand something powerful. Confidence is not the cause of action. Confidence is the result of action. You don't act because you're confident. You become confident because you act. Every time you keep a promise to yourself, something changes inside you. Your brain begins to trust you, not because of what you think, but because of what you do. Your mind is always watching your behavior. It learns from your actions. When you hesitate, your brain learns hesitation. When you delay, your brain learns delay. When you act, your brain learns action. This is how identity is built. Not through ideas, through repetition. Every action is a vote for the person you are becoming. When you act, even in small ways, you send a signal. I am someone who moves forward. I am someone who follows through. I am someone who does not wait. And over time, this changes everything. Because your brain adapts. What once felt difficult becomes normal. What once felt uncomfortable becomes automatic. What once felt impossible becomes routine. This is how transformation happens. Not in a moment, but in thousands of small decisions, quiet decisions, invisible decisions. Most people never see this part. They only see the result. They see confidence and assume it appeared suddenly. They see discipline and assume it was always there. But they never see the repetition. They never see the boring days. They never see the moments when action was difficult. Because action is not glamorous. Action is private. Action is silent. Action is lonely. But action is powerful. Because action is real. Ideas exist in your mind. Action exists in your life. Ideas change how you think. Action changes who you are. And there is something else most people don't understand. Action reduces fear, not over time, immediately. The moment you begin, fear loses power because fear survives in delay. Fear grows in hesitation. Fear feeds on waiting, but fear cannot survive movement. Action interrupts fear. Action creates clarity. Action creates momentum. Momentum is what changes your life, not intensity, consistency, not emotion, repetition, not motivation, discipline. Motivation comes and goes. Discipline remains. Motivation depends on feelings. Discipline depends on decisions. Motivation is fragile. Discipline is stable. And the people who change their lives understand this difference. They don't wait for motivation. They act anyway. They act when they feel tired. They act when they feel uncertain. They act when they feel nothing. Because they understand something simple. Action creates the person they want to become. Every time you act, you strengthen that identity. Every time you delay, you weaken it. This is why action matters, not because of what it produces, but because of what it builds inside you. Self-trust, self-respect, self-control. These are not ideas. These are consequences. Consequences of repeated action. And over time, something remarkable happens. Action becomes easier, not because life becomes easier, but because you become stronger. The resistance decreases. The hesitation fades. Movement becomes natural. And one day, without realizing it, you become the person you once imagined. Not because of a single idea, but because of thousands of actions. Quiet actions, invisible actions, disciplined actions. Ideas are important. Ideas show you direction, but ideas are only the beginning. Ideas open the door. Action walks through it. The future you want is not waiting for better ideas. It is waiting for action. Not tomorrow, not someday, today. Because the difference between who you are and who you want to become is not knowledge, it is action. And the moment you act, everything begins to change.